Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
Arizona's legislative session is winding down. We'll tell you why Democrats are saying it wasn't as productive as it could have been.
Plus, hundreds of master keys to buildings across the valley are missing. Find out what may have happened to them.
And while some people find health benefits from medical marijuana, it's a different story for their pets. We have the details on a stern warning from vets.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Brittany Bade.
And I'm Ryan Foote. Thanks for joining us.
We're heading into a very long week for Arizona lawmakers. Dozens of bills still need to be heard, and the partisan divide is as strong as ever. Cronkite News reporter Clarissa Tapia is live in downtown Phoenix with the details. Clarissa?
Thanks, Brittany. It was definitely a somber mood out at the House Democratic meeting today. With little successes this entire session, many of them pointing the blame at the Republican partisan agenda. And they even argue that they are hurting our state instead of helping it.
Things are dwindling down at the Capitol, and it has some lawmakers taking a look back at this legislative session with a heavy sigh.
When we come down, at least when I come down, I have high hopes that we'll do something good for the state, particularly our kids.
But according to House Democrats, lawmakers did everything but that.
House Republicans have continued to ignore the state's pressing issues, including child safety and education, and really choosing instead to focus on matters that just do not move this state forward.
Last year, House Democrats say they had a good year in regards to the number of bills passed. This year, they can't say that at all because right now, none of their bills have made it through the legislature.
Transportation funding and bills concerning the Navajo Nation all slashed. But the latest blow for Democrats came with the state's new $9.23 billion budget, a budget they say slights public education.
The money is there. We saw misplaced priorities in the budget several times, and I think the most glaring one that I highlighted in particular was the effort to give private prisons, one particular company, almost $1 million.
Despite it all, House Democrats are not discouraged.
It's hard, but I don't feel like I can quit. I want to continue to hopefully move the state forward and be a voice of reason.
Late this afternoon, I talked with a spokesman from the Republican House caucus who challenges the Democratic claims of a bad budget. In particular, they say the education is only $130 million short of the all-time high in 2008. Live in downtown Phoenix, Clarissa Tapia, Cronkite News.
Tax season is once again upon us, but a recent report from the General Accounting Office showed that 17 out of 19 randomly selected tax preparers failed to accurately file a correct tax return. Cronkite News reporter Jillian Idle has the latest from Washington.
Right now, it doesn't take much to get a job as a tax preparer at a place like Liberty Tax.
All you do is pay $64 and you get a tax preparer identification number, which gets attached to any return you file with us.
Just last week at the Capitol, IRS tax advocate Nina Olson testified that there are not enough regulations to protect tax filers in this annual process. She claimed that in 46 states, including Arizona, tax preparers have less oversight than the local salon. If you're filing your taxes at a place like this, chances are there are more regulations for the people doing your hair next door.
I feel like there should be a little more, scrutinizing and understanding who is preparing these taxes.
For Vincent Smith, it took more than just $64 to become a professional barber.
Well, I had to go through 1,500 hours of classroom time. I had to take written and practical tests. I had to also get a business license.
But the Arizona Society of CPAs says our state has the right standards, stating taxpayers who choose Arizona CPAs to handle their taxes are working with individuals who have passed a rigorous exam and are regulated by the Arizona State Board of Accountancy. And back at Liberty Tax, the concern appears to be less about credentials and more about the ticking clock.
Olson asked Congress to consider amending U.S. tax code to require testing and continuing education components. She also encouraged any late filers this year to ask about their tax preparer's credentials. Your stocks got a surge today after a new report on our growing economy. The Commerce Department says retail sales notched up more than a full percentage point last month, the biggest increase in more than 2 years. But as Cronkite News reporter Juan Magana found out, it's not good news for everyone.
Even though last month's retail sales broke a record, one store that's been around for more than half a century in Glendale is closing down. At the corner of 58th Avenue and Glendale, you'll find Kathy's Corner Boutique, but not for long.
We are finally closing after 54 years.
Inside, clearance signs are all over the store. This is Kathy Moniger's family store, a place that became more like home.
It's kind of evolved in almost like a friendship rather than, just customers.
But Kathy says it's the customers and their shopping habits have changed.
Shopping has changed quite a bit, and I think, probably the computer and the internet, has definitely taken a toll on the smaller businesses.
As Kathy puts up these clearance signs, the Commerce Department says retail sales increased 1.1% last month, the biggest in September 2012. These are signs the economy is emerging from its winter-induced slumber. The unusual cold and snowing weather across the country took its economic toll everywhere. The Commerce Department also says in February, sales also went up to 0.7%. But it's a rebound, not enough to keep Kathy's Corner open.
I mean, we've had a great run and it's been a lot of fun. And so we're just going to go on to another chapter in our lives.
A chapter that closes along with the doors at the end of the month. According to Glendale's economic development, offices retail businesses are in good shape. There are only 8.6% vacancy for retail space there in Glendale. That's compared to more than 10% for Metro Phoenix. Live in the studio, Juan Magana, Cronkite News.
They are crucial for first responders to get into a building. Knock boxes allow firefighters to gain access to a building with a special key. Today, the Phoenix Fire Department said it is missing hundreds of those keys. I sat down with the fire chief to talk about how this could have happened. You have to look hard to notice these little black boxes, but they're on nearly every commercial building in the city. Now those boxes are getting a lot of attention.
It gives us access into the building by virtue of them giving us their key. It allows us to gain entry.
The Phoenix Fire Department told Cronkite News today that it cannot account for 850 master keys that give them access to more than 9,000 buildings across the valley.
That's part of what we're still doing assessments on, is trying to find out where those keys may be.
Carter says part of the reason why so many keys are missing is because so many people had them.
We would issue keys to not only each fire truck, an engine, a ladder, and a rescue truck, but we would also issue those to key staff personnel.
The Phoenix Fire Department says keys were likely not returned or possibly even damaged and thrown away after firefighters gained entrance to a building.
Part of what we're doing is upgrading the system that we have with the way that the keys get secured, as well as we will go through and re-core all of the keys that have been issued to those businesses.
Now it's important to say that the Phoenix Fire Department can still get into any of those 9,000 buildings in case of emergency. It is missing copies of those master keys. Chief Carter told me it will take around 12 weeks to recore all of the boxes. The department says there have been no reports of break-ins at any building related to the missing keys.
Phoenix is home to one of America's largest pollution sites. Toxic waste dumped in the 80s still resides underneath bedrock in one of the most densely populated areas of the city. The EPA this month reported on testing conducted downtown in February. The M52 Superfund site runs from 48th Street in McDowell through downtown to 7th Avenue in Van Buren. The chemical TCE was dumped in dry wells by several companies, including Honeywell and Motorola. The EPA found the testing site near 28th Street in Fillmore had a high risk for vapor intrusion.
This vapor intrusion is a new animal. It's invisible. It's at levels that you can't possibly smell. And so it's a risk that is hard to put your mind around. And so I think it's great news for the community that we have been able to at least alleviate that fear from a lot of people.
The current cleanup effort involves pumping polluted water from the site and treating it. The EPA is expected to report again this summer on the next step in the cleanup process.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Graffiti doesn't stand a chance around Phoenix. Their graffiti busters are back in action. We'll tell you who is helping them get back on the streets.
And if you have medical marijuana in your house, you may not be the only one getting high. I have the dangerous side effects next.
Imagine being stranded.
Needing 16,000 points for them.
From TV banks to computers.
Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
The winter you've been waiting for is on PBS.
You must choose either death or life.
All the drama.
There's going to be changes at Downton.
It's getting harder to say no.
The adventure.
The waves are breaking all around us.
And the spectacle of nature.
We're going to show how special these animals are.
Come in from the cold. Support the one place that can take you any place.
A tradition of excellence, integrity, and innovation.
The second I came in, I fell in love with the program.
The Cronkite School propels students into the new era of journalism.
Students are learning.
Digital, entrepreneurial, and collaborative labs encourage students to shape the future of the industry, and the industry is watching.
We have come here to meet with students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
The Cronkite School, the journalism school for the digital age.
The city of Phoenix is still trying to finalize a budget, and reporter Jeff Platt shows us one city program getting a second chance from an unusual source.
The city of Phoenix and Grand Canyon University have been partners on a variety of community projects for more than 2 years now. And when the city considered cutting funding for graffiti removal, GCU broke out the checkbook. You may see graffiti in Phoenix, but to Roy Plunk, it could be a lot worse.
Without the graffiti busters, it would really be bad.
Plunk has been a graffiti buster for 8 years, but he thought he'd have to hang up the hose.
I'm hearing rumors of possible laying some of the graffiti busters off.
Luckily for Plunk and the community, the administration at Grand Canyon University won't let that happen.
It wasn't right for us to not reach out and really try to do something significant.
The private Christian university just gave Phoenix $25,000 to help bolster the Graffiti Busters program, an amount equal to what would have been cut in the city budget.
Partnerships of this type it keeps the lifeblood going. It gives us a more defined focus in areas.
And with help from institutions just like GCU, the city of Phoenix hopes that walls like this can be this clean. And Plunk doesn't mind the GCU assist either.
It's really going to make a difference in keeping your area clean, because I'm going to be extra special watching out around you guys.
With Plunk on your side, you get a clean conscience and a clean neighborhood. By the way, that $25,000 is just part of a $1 million commitment that Grand Canyon made. Jeff Platt, Cronkite News.
Exactly 3 years ago today, Arizona joined the list of states legalizing medical marijuana. And while many patients are benefiting, some Valley veterinarians are seeing some serious side effects among pets. Cronkite News reporter Cassie Clapp went to a local animal hospital to find how dangerous medical marijuana is for dogs.
Yes, Brittany, I spoke with a Valley vet that said his vet practice has seen dozens of dogs come in over the past few months with side effects from medical marijuana. No pet deaths, but plenty of frightening symptoms for pet owners.
We had a dog earlier, a long time ago, that got into some chocolate that we didn't know, and eventually it killed her.
Most pet owners have known for years chocolate is dangerous for dogs. Now veterinarians say there's a new threat: the effects of coming in contact with medical marijuana. Dr. Stephen Bishop with Animal Care Hospital has seen a few cases.
Basically been stoned. The dogs are stoned.
So now he's warning pet owners about the symptoms.
Dilated eyes. They were very, very sedated. Occasionally they can become agitated.
Dr. Billy Griswold from the Emergency Animal Clinic says his offices have seen one dog a week come through with symptoms consistent with a marijuana high. Both vets and medical marijuana dispensaries urge pet owners and parents to take precautions.
First of all, it should be treated like any other medication, locked in a cabinet or in a safe place where kids and dogs cannot get to it.
Mark Steinmetz runs a medical marijuana dispensary in Phoenix. He says patients buying medical marijuana have the option to buy containers that are more difficult to open.
Because the dogs don't know.
Dr. Bishop says if you think your pet has eaten marijuana, be honest.
We don't really care about your personal life. We just want to basically make sure that we get your animal taken care of.
And the good news, while many dogs have gotten sick, none have died from medical marijuana. Live in the Media Center, Cassie Clapp, Cronkite News.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
And find out how one Valley woman is using this bike to advocate for alternative modes of transportation.
And the heat is on and your moon is red. I've got all your weather needs coming up next.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think, is a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution.
That's a huge discovery.
That's never been done before, ever, anywhere.
Touchdown confirmed.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
I am a chef. I cook for a living. And I think of PBS as a window to the world. That kind of place where you feel you are part of the story. I want to be part of every possible world is out there. That's when things become really amazing. And when you are able to see stories that make you wonder, makes you think, that's what really makes PBS so meaningful. And that's the kind of TV we need to be supporting today.
Valley Metro is implementing a number of service changes in October, but first they want public feedback on the proposed changes. Some of the modifications include changes to more than 20 routes as well as adding 4 routes and eliminating 1. Valley Metro is hearing public comments in a variety of forums, from open houses to tweet chats to webinars. These comment sessions will be open until May 2nd.
As temperatures rise in the valley, so does pressure from community members to make Phoenix a more bike-friendly city. Our reporter Hannah Lawrence was able to sit down with one very mobile two-wheeled resident.
Brittany, bike activists that I spoke with today say that it's very possible to get around town without a car. However, they say that Phoenix has a long way to go before they are totally bike-friendly. The wheels on this bike go round and round, carrying Diane Barker all through town. The senior Ohio native now lives in downtown Phoenix and has traveled as far as Surprise, Arizona on her collapsible bike.
It was a big surprise for me to find out that Bell Road had 6 lanes of fast traffic and no sidewalk or no bicycle path. And yes, I made it through that.
Barker hasn't owned a car in more than 25 years. She uses her bike, the light rail, and the bus to get around and advocate for alternative transportation.
Somebody said I'd paint a romantic picture, of what I do. I believe in it. I know it can work.
While I was talking to Barker this morning, we happened to meet another bicyclist with the same mission.
Fellow bicycle advocate.
Paul Lumens has been car-free for around 3 years now. He says what Phoenix needs is
bike lanes, bike signage, just good ways for cars to be aware that there are bicycles around.
In 2012, 530 accidents involved bicycles citywide. That's a 10% increase from just 4 years ago. Barker was hit by an SUV in downtown Phoenix a few years ago.
I was thrown off, and I was down here in Phoenix appropriately in the crosswalk.
Barker returned to her bike after months of rehab. She says her mission is intact as well as her mind.
There's nothing the matter with my head, so I get it, I say to the mayors, I've been tested, have you?
No.
The city of Phoenix is due to finalize a 20-year master bicycle plan in May. And that plan will be influenced by the city's growing bicycle community. Live in downtown Phoenix, Hannah Lawrence, Cronkite News.
Well, the first of 4 lunar eclipses happening tonight. The moon will give off a reddish color, deeming it the name the blood moon. The eclipse is set to peak at 11 p.m. tonight and should last a total of 78 minutes. My favorite time of the year. I remember waking up late with my dad to watch the lunar eclipse and all the meteor showers. So make sure you check that out tonight. Clear skies tonight for us. As you can see, some winds just blew everything right out the state earlier this morning. We're expected some lower winds coming in later tonight to cool things down, maybe even into tomorrow. Right now, winds 12 in Flagstaff. We got no winds right now. Real low, 6 and 8 by the border. Looking at your lows tonight, 40 up in Flagstaff, 60 tonight in Phoenix, and 33 up there. Keeping it cool by the Grand Canyon. Now, looking around the nation, severe thunderstorms and rain coming through the south. They're going to see so much rain kind of to cap off this winter, all that snow, all that ice, the water cycle working in full effect. And like I said, severe thunderstorm warning all throughout the next couple of days. Rain, maybe we can get some of that over here. Currently 84 in Phoenix, very dry, 8% humidity. Sunset tonight just before 7 p.m. And here's a look at your 5-day. We're going to be high 80s for most of this week, and we could possibly see some clouds coming in later in the week, maybe into Easter weekend. Should be fairly warm up into the 90s, but a slight chance of rain on Saturday. However, clear skies throughout the week. Shorts, t-shirts. Don't forget to apply that sunscreen and drink plenty of water. There's your forecast. I'm Adam Waltz, Cronkite Weather.
The Phoenix Suns are the only team left in Arizona with the chance to make it to the playoffs, and tonight's game against the Grizzlies is the most crucial match of the season. We went inside today's shoot-around, and you can see that the Suns have an uphill battle. The Grizzlies could clinch the final playoff spot and eliminate the Suns with either a win tonight or against Dallas on Wednesday. But the Suns say that they're up for that challenge.
Not yet, so that they haven't all season, and they're not going to know.
We know it's a must win, but at the same time, we can't, get too riled up or too anxious.
We don't have our destiny in our hands, but still, we have to win those games.
We either gonna make the playoffs or be the team that have the most wins not to make the playoffs. That's our goal, try to make it. So come out fighting that.
And the Coyotes know this exact feeling, so close to making it to the playoffs, but they were ultimately eliminated. They won their final game of the season last night, and they know they have a lot of work to do in the offseason, including getting used to a new name, which is the Arizona Coyotes. And from bad to good, Bubba Watson did something that only 17 people have ever done. He won his second Masters title, but he did it in just 3 years. And it wasn't his winning putt that made this moment so special. It was his 2-year-old son, Caleb, who waddled his way onto the green to celebrate with his dad. Watson closed the course 3 ahead of his rookie opponents, taking home the legendary green jacket. But Tiger Woods never got a chance to compete for another green jacket due to his back. And now younger athletes are learning from that. Cronkite sports reporter Nick Merrick shows us an up-and-coming golf star who protects his body before stepping foot onto the course.
Golf is typically an individual sport.
So let's match them up.
But not for the McDevitt family.
My goal is to go through this whole journey in life with him and to be a duo.
The he's referring to is his father, who's also his coach. And they're a pretty good 1-2 punch because Jack's determination caught his dad by surprise.
I remember I said, "What do you want to do with golf?" And he says, "I just want to dominate." He's 7 years old.
And he's dominated the amateur pub links ever since. Now that a professional career is teed up for Jack, he knows he has to protect his body.
A long stretch tournament, my body will get a little tired and I'll get a little fatigued.
I feel that the muscles right there have decreased their tension.
So Jack gets treatment regularly before the tournaments.
He gets bound up on this left side and it doesn't allow the joints to move or the muscles aren't firing appropriately.
In short, the repetitive motion of swinging a club is already damaging Jack's young back. Jack may be getting the proper treatment, but more parents need to be proactive about injury prevention, even in golf.
I think a lot of parents aren't proactive, partly because they don't know. I got hurt by some bad instruction years ago, okay? And it changed the way I teach.
And that new teaching is paying off. Jack, just a freshman in high school, already has some colleges looking. On the links in Chandler, Nick Merrick, Cronkite Sports.
Good punt.
And Jack actually looks to tennis star Roger Federer when it comes to modeling his own preparation because he says Federer rarely gets injured. And speaking of injuries, Dragic has been battling that ankle injury, but he'll be playing tonight.
Yeah, that's a must win, Adam. What do you think the Suns are going to do?
I think they got it tonight at home, and Dragic, he's a player. Angry Dragon.
Well, good luck to them tonight. That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight. Cronkite News is always online. Just head to CronkiteNewsOnline.com.
And while you're there, you can sign up for daily email headlines from all of Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
A tradition of excellence, integrity, and innovation.
The second I came in, I fell in love with the program.
The Cronkite School propels students into the new era of journalism.
Students are learning.
Digital, entrepreneurial, and collaborative labs encourage students to shape the future of the industry, and the industry is watching.
We have come here to meet with students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
The Cronkite School, the journalism school for the digital age.